up, everybody, and welcome to another championship edition of Nerdgasm. I am your host today, Brooklyn Vale. We have the usual suspects in the final shares. We have editor Tim Brzakala for the reigning champion, taking on one of the most annoying people in the community, Kaleb Koho. He somehow got here. But before we get to our competitors, let's introduce our judges, starting off with that son of a bitch, Cody Newberry, the co-commissioner, I guess, I don't know, one of the heads on the Mount Rushmore of Nerdgasm, I guess you would say. How do you feel about today's match?
I hope the competitors talk better than you do, but I think this is going to be a fantastic match. There's like 7 of us that run Nerdgasm, and I probably do the least. So I'm in a tough spot because one of my best friends is here, Tim Brzakala, and then there's Kaleb. I'm on call with Kaleb at least like a couple hours a week, and if he loses, well, Cody, if you would have voted for me on that point, I would have been champion, blah, blah, blah. Cody's in another championship match. Can he grab that gold ring, or can he just fall to the bottom of the pit yet again? I don't know. We'll see.
All right. Also, I believe making his Nerdgasm judging debut, but no stranger to the fan debate community as it is. That is one Doug Castle. Doug, how do you feel today getting your Nerdgasm feet wet with the championship match?
It's definitely going to be interesting. Definitely going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to be here.
All right, let's get into the minds of our competitors, starting off with the champion, Tim Brzakala. Tim, it has been said that you have not competed since August when the rebranded inaugural championship was fought against your brother-in-law, one Hobbit Robert Parker. How do you feel going up against Kaleb? Do you find this is an upgrade or a downgrade to your previous competitors?
I don't know. I would get, I don't know, upgrade or downgrade. I mean, Koho is always a downgrade, but no, I don't know. I'm nervous. I'm always nervous before a debate. I never take these lightly because it's not something like trivia where you can just like study, and then like know that you're going to know every answer, right? Like it's very, you have to adapt. So this will be interesting. I've never fought Kaleb. I've watched all his videos, all of his fights. In Nerdgasm, a couple outside of Nerdgasm to prep for this. So I feel like I'm semi-prepared, but we'll see. Who knows? If I lose, I'll just, I don't know. I'll just lock him out of the Fandom doc, and next season the Fandom will be interesting.
Lock him out of the Fandom doc. Let's have that recorded there for video evidence. Your challenger, Kaleb Koho. Kaleb, you had a rough round 1 in a previous tournament in the form of inevitable finalist Robert Parker, but then you got your redemption shot at the form of Jay Burns, somebody who also had a rough go of things. But you beat him, and you're here. How does it feel to finally face Tim?
This is my first debate title match ever, so this is kind of cool. If Tim did 10% of the amount of prep that he said he did, I'm fucked. Because I have done about an hour's worth of prep for this. But I'm going to try my hardest. Tim deserves that. He deserves my best. And I'm going to try and give him as much as I can in tonight's debate. And we'll see how it goes. I like these questions. I like the answers we both gave. It'll be fun.
All right, so how it's going to work before the match starts, these guys submitted 4 fandom categories for us to create questions from. Then we gave them the questions, and they drafted their answers accordingly. There will be 4 prep questions and 3 speed round questions. It is going to be a race to 4 points. For the prep questions, there is a 1-minute opening, followed by 5 minutes of free form, and then a 45-second closing arguments. 2 rules of this match are no filibustering, as always, and no touching of the hair or face. Don't even remember my own catchphrase. But let's get right into it with question number 1. We went into the realm of Doctor Who, and your question is, what is the most underrated episode of Doctor Who? We are going to be starting off with Kaleb Koho. You have 1 minute, and time is going to begin whenever you start talking.
when we got into the Capaldi era, it was an era of Doctor Who where there was a lot of contention, a lot of uncertainty as to where we would go, if the new Doctor would be good, if Moffat could keep doing what he was doing without Matt Smith in the role. And the first season was very shaky. It got very episode of the monster of the week sort of thing, and people hate that with Doctor Who when it gets too much like that. And I think the episode that really broke us out of that mold was Time Heist. It put the Doctor in a situation we've never seen him in before, which the Doctor being the smartest fictional character of all time, up there with Sherlock Holmes, never being in the position of pulling off a bank heist actually surprises me. Putting him in the center of the most heavily guarded bank in the galaxy with a bunch of alien security measures that he has to figure out his way through is an interesting episode. And then you throw in the mystery of they don't know who hired them. They have no memory of why they're there, and having to unravel the mystery of what they're actually trying to steal, who hired them, and then also trying to get through the bank is super exciting. Time Heist is easily the best episode of the Capaldi era, and it's super underrated.
All right. Over to Tim for your answer of what is the most underrated Doctor Who episode.
When looking at the Capaldi era, I kind of went through and thought about the seasons as a whole, and it's kind of remarkable how Capaldi just overall as a Doctor just didn't have a lot of memorable episodes, but the few that are memorable are actually pretty fantastic. And so I went with Twice Upon a Time, which is actually his last episode as the Doctor, because it's the first time that we actually kind of get to see Capaldi have any emotion whatsoever. He's kind of a more distant Doctor, kind of a different one than Matt Smith, who Caleb mentioned. They kind of went a different approach with Capaldi. So then when we finally got towards the end of his final season, you got a different side of him finally. And so I think that made Twice Upon a Time really fun. Also, there's a lot of other cool stuff that happens in the episode I'll get into, but there's some guest appearances from other characters that we hadn't seen in a really long time. Makes the episode really fun, a nice send-off for Capaldi as the Doctor.
All right, excellent. All right, gentlemen, you know the drill. 5 minutes of free form. Like I said, no filibustering. I will give you a 1-minute warning, but just ignore that and keep on going. Let's get it on.
Okay, so you picked Twice Upon a Time, and you picked a Regeneration episode. The Regeneration episodes are easily the most overrated of any Doctor Who. Every Regeneration episode is the one where you get all the quotes, oh no, we lost this Doctor, but yours is probably the worst Regeneration episode of the New Who era, because they brought back the first Doctor, but the first Doctor's been dead for 40 years, so we got an impressionist to sort of do a mediocre impression of William Hartnell's Doctor, which brings the entire episode down a peg.
Well, that's like saying that anytime any character is ever recast, that means that brings something down. That's definitely not true. Characters are recast all of the time in tons of media, and that doesn't do anything. David Bradley is excellent as that Doctor, and him and Capaldi do a really good job back and forth. I want to touch on something you said in your opening. You said, oh, his season 1, it had a lot of blah, blah, blah of the week. Your episode is like episode 5 of that season. Yeah. There's no mold to break at that point. The first 4 episodes are like, yeah, sure, they're like thing of the week. Time Heist is also thing of the week because the episode after it, they just go back to doing more stuff. It doesn't break the mold in any way. Sure, it's a fun like heist episode, but at least my episode brought back someone, an old character that we liked. It kind of was a fun way to like send off Capaldi, different than other Regeneration episodes we've seen.
You brought back a character that should have never been brought back. That actor's been dead for so long, and he left his stamp on the role so perfectly that by bringing him back, you're doing an entire disservice while trying to do fan service. It's the worst kind of fan service, where there's no real point of bringing the first Doctor back. You could have easily brought back the 4th Doctor, the 5th Doctor, the 6th Doctor, any of these other Doctors that are still alive and willing to come back and do this role and have that story still fulfilled the exact same way. There's no real emotion. And you said emotion, by the way. There's more emotion in the Capaldi episodes Heaven Sent and Hellbent from the previous season, where we see more range out of him, than in Twice Upon a Time, where he just is angry, which he does better in Heaven Sent and Hellbent.
Okay, but again, like you're talking like bring back a 4th or a 5th Doctor. That's not the point of the episode. The point of the episode, though, is kind of to show how far far the show has come at this point, because this is like season 9 at this point, season 10, I believe. So the fact that you're bringing back the first Doctor, it really does show like how far the show has come from beginning to this point. Your episode is unfortunately just another episode of Doctor Who. It doesn't change anything. And actually, your episode is one of the highest rated episodes in your season. So I don't know how it can really be underrated, which is the question. My episode is underrated because you don't really get a lot from Capaldi up to that point. Like I said, yes, I said emotion in the sense of emotion. Anger is something we don't really see out of him. So to get that from him in this episode was fantastic.
If you want to bring in ratings, yours is the highest rated episode of season 10. So if you want to go toe to toe, yours is not underrated by rating standards. Hell, when it comes to Time Heist is a break from the monotonous sort of thing of the week, because it's a situation we've never seen the Doctor in that you think we could. The entire story of Time Heist is so intricately plotted that it's interesting to watch and see him get through all the puzzles. Yours actually doesn't actually show how far Doctor Who has come. That's what Day of the Doctor is for, when everyone comes back, archive footage, and bringing in the War Doctor, a totally different Doctor we've never seen. Whereas your episode does a disservice to the legacy because it tries to introduce a new element to a Doctor that we've had before, and it falls completely flat because David Bradley's not doing anything new with his performance of the first Doctor. He's just trying to do an impression of William Hartnell, and that's really hard to watch.
But that's like saying, okay, again, you're saying that like bringing this character back and bringing up like emotions, that's literally everything now in media. Like you have Avengers Endgame, all that does is bring stuff back that people love, and that's why it brings out great emotion in it. Just because it's something old that you bring back doesn't do it a disservice. It's just because you didn't want it doesn't mean that the general population and fans of Doctor Who didn't enjoy it. It wasn't I'm looking at IMDb. It's not the highest rated episode in that season, so I don't know where you got that.
You're looking at episode 0 of a different season. It ties into the last episode of the last season.
I'm aware what I'm looking at. Anyway, thank you. I did my prep.
What I'm gonna say for you is when you bring something back as fan service, that doesn't instantly make it good. That doesn't mean it's good fan service. You're saying bringing it back like Endgame brings everything together means it's good. That does not make it good. Just because that's what people do today doesn't make it good. The thing about David Bradley is his performance doesn't work. It just doesn't. The entire plot of your episode on top of it doesn't even work. Because you're trying to make a relationship between these two Doctors that have no business with working with each other. Their emotions don't play off each other. Where the 12th Doctor is at that point in his life doesn't fit with the point of where any other character that you're bringing into this episode is. And the actual plot of going into this weird alien memory ball doesn't even work. It makes no sense. Whereas mine is so tightly plotted that you can't even poke holes in the plot of Time Heist. It works so well.
But again, it goes back to the fact that you opened your argument with that Capaldi's episodes are all like freak of the week type thing. Time Heist is just another one of those episodes. It's just another episode of Doctor Who that came and went, whereas at least mine did something different and something cool.
All right. So good back and forth, guys. Much better than the last championship match first question. So props to both competitors. We will go into the closing statements. We're going to start off with Tim on this one. You got 45 cents to wrap up your argument to present them to the judges accordingly.
Yes, Twice Upon a Time is the last episode, Capaldi. It is the regeneration episode, as Caleb has said many times. And the fact that he's not really giving me any proof as to why David Bradley isn't good in the episode. I think that the two of them, it shows how far the show has come. They go on a fun adventure. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. He's talking about the giant ball that they go, like, whatever. Like, every Doctor Who episode has crazy, weird stuff in it like that. That's why people love Doctor Who. Time Heist, unfortunately, though, is just another episode of Doctor Who. Yes, it's well written, and there's no plot holes. That doesn't mean that I'm not saying it's a bad episode. I'm just saying it's not the most underrated episode. Time Heist, unfortunately, is just another episode, whereas Twice Upon a Time is something different that fans wanted to see.
All right. Caleb, your 45 seconds to wrap up the question.
Twice Upon a Time, unfortunately, ends Capaldi's on a down note, because what it does is it tries to do what Day of the Doctor does, but worse. It tries to show, oh, look at what we've done with Doctor Who, but the thing is that doesn't work. It doesn't work because David Bradley isn't doing anything as the first Doctor. He's just saying lines, trying to sound like William Hartnell, and Capaldi's not giving you the emotion Tim says he is, like he does in Hellbent or Heaven Sent the last season. Time Heist is actually a more important episode than that season, because in that season, that episode means so much. It's the story of the Doctor and Clara, and it helps build their relationship, which gets paid off off in the season finale of that season. And that's why Time Heist works so well, because it shows those two building off each other in the dynamic while going through a situation that we've never seen Capaldi be put in, and he does it flawlessly. Twice Upon a Time is the regeneration episode. They're always overrated. He gets to do all of his big flashy farewells, and it doesn't land as well as Time Heist does in Toy Story.
All right. This is pretty good. This is I think this set the pace for the match going forward. But I'm going to go over to the judges now for their decision, starting off with Cody. Who gets your point and why?
Yeah. So this is a rough one, and I don't mean to take a long time talking about this, but I don't feel like they argued the question. I feel like one said that their episode's bad, and it's not like what's the best episode, what's the best underrated episode. And Koho told me that this new episode's real freaking good, but didn't tell me why it's considered by people that are underrated, and neither did really Tim. Tim's the only one that brought actually underrated into the conversation. To say, you're saying it's underrated, but you're saying it's pretty dang good, and it's highly rated. That made Tim bring back ratings. So all in all, I have to give Tim the vote because that was the question. It wasn't what's the best episode, it's the best underrated episode. And Koho saying his was pretty much shit makes it underrated because there's good points to it. I don't know. It's a real weird.
Well, you're not the only judge here. To pass it over to Doug now. Doug, who gets your point and why?
Same vein as Cody. There wasn't a lot of talking about why the episode was underrated in the community of Whovians. And it's a yes, that's what they're called. It's timey-wimey stuff.
Timey-wimey Whovians, you're right.
The only one that actually did mention anything that hinted to the question was Tim, so I got to give Tim the point on that one.
So Tim does get that first point. I would agree with both Cody and Doug. I think there was a lot that was sort of left on the table. The way that the freeform started, it seemed like Kaleb was sort of going into the route that he normally does, but then he sort of caught into his own game. He definitely gave a little more facts, but Tim definitely catered to the question better. So Tim does get that first point. But
I forgot to argue an entire point that was written down on my board, and I realized it too late, and I was like, "Fuck," which is that it comes after the highest rated episode of Doctor Who in history. Oh, fuck me. Okay, good job, Tim.
All right. Well, Tim does get the first point, but it is a race to 4, so there is still plenty of game to be played. We're going to go right into question number 2. Probably the question that I'm most excited for is the Harry Potter question. And it is, what is the most satisfying moment in Harry Potter? We're going to be starting off with Tim on this one. You have 1 minute. The floor is yours.
When you look at Harry Potter, when you look at the story from Sorcerer's Stone to Deathly Hallows, from beginning to end, there's a lot of really great moments. There's a lot of fun moments, but when it comes to satisfying, the only, I think, option is the epilogue of Deathly Hallows Part 2, the epilogue. And there's many reasons why, and a lot of like filmmaking stuff has to come into that too, like the score of the scene and whatnot. I'll get into a lot of that, but what it basically comes down to is the fact that you spend so much time with these characters. You spend so much time with Harry, Ron, and Hermione, and to just know they make it and everything is good. They defeated evil. They have kids. They get to send them off to Hogwarts. The performances in this scene make it fantastic. The score makes it fantastic. It's so satisfying just to see all of this wrapped up in this beautiful, beautiful way. That's why it's the most satisfying.
All right. Over to Kaleb now for your answer. Do you feel, what is the most satisfying moment in Harry Potter?
Okay, when you watch Doctor Who, or not Doctor Who, fuck. When you watch Harry Potter, there's one specific character that you see as the villain all the way through once she gets introduced that you're like, man, I want this person to fucking die. And that's Bellatrix Lestrange. She literally kills all of these people who are so important to Harry, kills Sirius Black, and literally just, you see her take so much and be so wicked and creepy and evil to Harry and all of his friends that you're like, I'm just waiting for her to go. The person who gets to take her out makes this even better when you get Mrs. Weasley with "Don't touch my daughter, you bitch," and just kills her. is the best way, because you see every time Bellatrix shows up, she kills whoever she's going for. She's deadly, she's lethal, she's terrifying. And the fact that you get the maternal instincts of Molly Weasley's mom just coming in and protecting her and being the one to take her out is so satisfying, especially with the line, "Not my daughter, you bitch." It's perfect.
Time. All right. Over into the free form, 5 minutes. You guys know the drill. Let's get it on.
I will start right away since you jumped in last time. The quote is "Get away from her, your bitch." If you're gonna quote it, at least quote it correctly.
You quote it correctly.
No, I just said it.
You did your bitch. Anyway.
No, I didn't. But anyway, Bellatrix appears in the Order of the Phoenix. You act like she appeared in Sorcerer's Stone and has been this like looming presence for the long time. She killed Sirius Black. The person who that offends the most is Harry. If it would have been satisfying, the question is satisfying for anybody to kill Bellatrix, it actually would have been Harry or even Lupin, Sirius's friend. But no, Molly Weasley comes in. It's a cool line, I'll give you that, because she said bitch in Harry Potter. Oh my God, that's so cool. But no. Whereas the epilogue actually brings out emotion, actually brings out really cool character moments, really cool pieces throughout the entire sequence. Yours is just like, oh, this character is now going to die. She's evil. Yes, she dies.
Mr. Robert Parker, if you could please stop using buzzwords about pieces and emotion. Your epilogue leaves more questions than answers, especially setting up an adventure with the kids that I'd much rather watch than knowing that Harry's okay. Harry and them are okay at the end of the movie when they throw the freaking Elder Wand off the bridge. We know they won. We know they won. We know what happens next. They won. It's over. The epilogue is just overkill. It's sending off his kids to Hogwarts and then going, oh, well, what if I'm a Slytherin? What if this? I want to see the movie where he becomes a Slytherin. I want to see the sequel. I want to see 8, 9, whatever movie they're on now about his kids. You set up a future that we're never going to get now. Whereas 9 is closing off the loop of this character. That, yes, she came in at 5, but we've hated her since 5.
Okay, well, first of all, she barely appears in the movies. She's in 2 scenes in 5. She's in like 2 scenes in 6. She steals
every scene she's in them, though.
That's utterly false. But the other point is, why does everything have to set up something else? Why can't we just have this nice wrap up with Harry, Ron, and Hermione and the kids? You get to see even see Draco Malfoy with a wife that sends off a kid to Hogwarts as well. And it's the emotional emotional. It's true. It's very emotional for Harry's son to go, I'm nervous. I don't want to get into Slytherin. And Harry imparting that knowledge, it's a nice wink at the audience and at the characters. But again, you're talking about a side character, Molly Weasley, who comes in for 3 seconds to go, get away from her, you bitch. And then just like, yeah, it's a cheering moment, but satisfying overall. It's satisfying to see these characters move on. It doesn't have to set up another sequel. Not everything has to set up something else.
Ask J.K. Rowling when you ask that question, why is she setting something up at the end of the movie? She is. That's what that is. That's a setup for the next thing. It's literally showing you the future of where Harry Potter could go, and I'd rather watch the future after that. I want to see where we go next. That's what that thing sets up. It's not, you want it to be the end. It's not the end. There's more to come, and we want to see that. Whereas the satisfying ending for Bellatrix Lestrange is to see her finally die, and the person who does it is the person that we've seen be restrained, be caring, be loving through all of it, and for her to break and be like, get away from her, you bitch. Not my daughter, you bitch. The entire fucking aura of what she does and kills her is so perfect because it's finally seeing a character that we've seen relaxed and restrained come unrestrained to protect the people she cares about and loves and kill the most infuriating, deadly character in the series. You can underplay, oh, she just killed Sirius Black or whatever. That's a big fucking thing.
No, I'm not underplaying the fact that she killed Sirius. I'm underplaying the fact that if you're saying that, like, if it's satisfying for Bellatrix to die, it would have been more satisfying for Harry to be the one to do it or Lupin to do it, not Molly. Molly and Bellatrix have no connection other than the fact that Bellatrix had a spell at Ginny. But the other thing that you just said, Molly Weasley restrained, are you on fucking crack? In Chamber of Secrets, she sends a fucking howler to Ron and screams at him in front of the
setup.
school.
That's the setup for this moment.
In Half-Blood Prince, when the fucking burrow gets attacked, she's one of the first ones out there with her wand attacking.
Which shows her bravery and shows that she could. It shows that she could pull off.
Let me finish. It contradicts your exact point that you made of her being a restrained character and this being the first time that she cracks. This is not the first time that Molly Weasley has done something like this. But I'm going to go back to my thing again, is the fact that you're talking about this scene, my epilogue scene, needing to set up this grander thing. It's just a bow on an already perfect gift. It's just the final piece that makes it perfect.
It's not the perfect bow, because whether you think it should or not, it does set up what comes next. It's showing new problems, new conflicts within new characters that we are going to follow in the future that we should see. That is not a satisfying conclusion.
We're never going to get those movies. You're saying that it's setting something up. You're never, I promise you are never going to see The Cursed Child, the movie. They're not.
Time. Do not make me use my motherly voice. We'll now go into going into the closing statements. We're going to start off with Kaleb. Once again, 45 seconds to wrap up your argument.
Harry Potter's off fighting Voldemort. Bellatrix runs around. She's killing people that we care about. It's the Battle of Hogwarts. And she's going to kill Ginny Weasley. The person there to protect her is her mother. And to see Molly have those motherly instincts and to be the one to take out Bellatrix is so satisfying, because she actually got killed. To see Bellatrix die is satisfying. And that moment is so fun and so perfect in Molly being the one to do it that you're underplaying, oh, it should be Harry. Harry's off fighting the big bad Voldemort. That's the satisfying conclusion for Harry to be doing. Bellatrix dying by Molly, perfect bow, as you would like to say. Whereas your epilogue, whether you think it does or not, actually sets up new conflicts, new characters, and new avenues of storytelling. And that's what we are going to explore. They're literally making it. They're cutting off Fantastic Beasts at 3 to make Cursed Child.
True.
All right, over to Tim to wrap up the question.
I'm glad Kaleb is using fake information to bring into his argument. That's not true. They're making 5 Fantastic Beasts movies, but I won't let that distract me. I also said Lupin. He's acting like I only talked about Harry. I also said Lupin. Sirius Black's best friend is Lupin, and Lupin saw him die too. Lupin was at the Battle of Hogwarts. He could have also been the one to kill Bellatrix, and it would have been more satisfying because he's avenging his friend. He's avenging his best friend. Molly Weasley being there and being the one to kill Bellatrix is cool. Satisfying, it doesn't make any sense in the course of the story, whereas my scene, okay, whether it does set up something else or not, that's still satisfying. It's satisfying to see these new characters go off, to know that they're going to have a potential adventure. It's fantastic. The scene, the acting is great in the scene. The music's great. It's a perfect scene.
Okay, I was very satisfied with this question. I think it was good. There was a great back and forth for the most part. But we'll go to the judges now for their decision. Cody, we'll go to you. Who gets your point and why?
I always hate you leading off with me, but it's the only way it can be. Koho fought really hard. He tried his damnedest. Throwing out a lot of info. Don't know a lot of it's factual, and I don't know how much came out of his ass, but I give him 2 points for trying. But my point goes to Tim. Tim pointed out facts why it would make his scene more satisfying. He kind of shut down that there's, instead of why can't it just end, why can't it just be a positive note? I like the counteract that the Elder Wand got thrown. We know that the ending, blah, blah, blah. But I think it was really hard to combat like that being a satisfying moment. But again, 2 other judges, so tell me if I'm wrong.
I'm gonna go next, and I actually agree with Cody. For me, I think Tim sort of had that almost like a head start going in the minute that he was like, "This is not actually what she said," and really sort of kept the pace going from there. Ultimately, what this came down to for me is how the defenses were sold. Because I think both had great offenses, but ultimately, I think Tim's attack of like the mother of the Weasleys, she like you sort of see this from Chamber of Secrets, and that there are other people that could be doing it. Kaleb just didn't give me enough as to why she had to be that person. So Tim does get my point. Doug, your vote did not count, but how would you have swayed?
Yeah, I agree with Cody and Brooklyn on the fight. It was it came down to how you guys fought defensively and countered each argument for me as well. And it just seemed like every answer that Kaleb gave, kind of Tim had a counterbalance for it. So like it was like more heavy-handed towards Tim. So Tim would have got my point.
All right. So Tim does go up 2-0.
They did talk about that on Collider, Fantastic Beasts 3 being reworked to wrap up so then they can make Curse a Child. That wasn't bullshit. That was actually a thing they talked about on Collider.
That's nice.
They did on the.
There's nothing on IMDb.
No, I was just it's fair. I was just saying.
I just checked it out. They talked about it because of JK's tweet, and then another article came out that it was false.
Okay, fair enough.
Fact checker Doug coming in
Sorry,
with that hashtag facts.
I tried.
All right. Well, as my great grandfather used to say, "Wish in one hand, shit in the other." We will go into
shit in your hand, Grandpa.
It's so unsanitary.
Question number 3 is going to come in the category of animated heroes, and the person that picked this category specified it to Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes. So we decided to go with a pretty standard, straightforward question. Who is the best villain in Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes? We're going to start off with Caleb. You have 1 minute. The floor is yours.
When it comes to the villains in Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes, you have an entire rogues gallery to pick from, but I think the person who had the most impact on the Avengers, that had the most impact on the viewers, is Kang the Conqueror. As soon as he comes in, to give you backstory, Kang the Conqueror is a ruler of Earth in the 41st century, and what happens is a anomaly from the past causes his future to be completely wiped out. And he looks and he believes it to be Captain America surviving World War II. So he comes back from the past and tries to convince Captain America to go back to the past and to die. But it turns out that it's not completely confirmed that that's why it happens, and that the Kree-Skrull War was not a result of Captain America and all this stuff. So they get into a fight to the point where they have to bring in Tim's character, who also loses to Kang the Conqueror in that episode. And Kang the Conqueror actually succeeds in annihilating the Earth, and the Avengers have to come back and win. And that's a two-parter that they pull off, and King the Conqueror is the most emotionally rich villain and the most devastating villain. He's one of the only villains to actually succeed in winning, to the point where the Avengers have to imprison him in a time machine to win.
All right. Over to Tim now for your answer on what is the best, or who is the best villain in Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Yeah, Caleb kind of alluded to it. If you don't know the plot of the show, it's basically there's a giant breakout, lots of villains around. It's like villain of the week. Avengers going around catching villains. So one of the few villains in this show that actually isn't one of those, though, that has a long arc throughout both seasons of the show is Ultron. And I think Ultron is the most interesting, the best villain in the show because of his emotional connection to the Avengers. His connection to Hank, his connection to Tony, the fact that they created him, and the fact that he, yes, as Caleb alluded to, actually helps them with defeating Kang. He says that Kang defeated Ultron. Well, actually, it's kind of the other way around, but we'll get to that, I'm sure. So, yeah, Ultron is a very interesting villain. They did some interesting stuff with him in this show, and I will be glad to talk about more of it once these 2 seconds are up.
Excellent. We'll go right into the 5 minutes of freeform. I don't need to say anything. You guys know the drill. You guys have been pretty good for filibustering, but let's get it on.
The whole reason why Ultron becomes evil is because Kang beats him. That's why he becomes evil. That's why they have to reprogram him. They reprogram him to be a fighter, and Kang beats him, and then he gets jaded. He gets evil. He gets cynical. And that's why, and he doesn't have a connection to the Avengers. He has a connection to Hank Pym. And Hank Pym breaks off from the Avengers because Tony Stark tried to sell the Ultron tech. So Ultron's arc is, I'm going to build a Jocasta body and build a wife for myself. And then they killed the wife and deprogram Ultron. And then in season 2, he comes back and gets beaten in 1 episode. Ultron is a villain of the week by we get to season 2. His arc in season 1 is very slow and boring.
No, it's not slow and boring at all. The fact that Ultron comes in, he's there throughout many episodes. Just because he's not big, bad Ultron at this point, he's still there learning. And yes, they reprogram him, but the fact that he has this almost human consciousness inside of him, he has Hank's human brainwaves inside of him, makes him a more compelling character than Kang. Kang is just another alien on a ship with an army. He barely does any of the fighting. He sends other people to go and fight for him, big armies, which we've seen 1,000 times in other shows. He's just another purple bad guy sitting in a chair, whereas Ultron is actually something different within the in the show up to that point.
Ultron is nothing different. He's literally a robot. When you say he has emotion, he doesn't have that emotion. Kang has that emotion. Kang is motivated by saving his wife. He's the Mr. Freeze of this series. He's motivated to save his wife, who is kept in stasis in the future. And if he can convince Captain America to go back in time and die, which he thinks will fix the timeline, then his wife will live and he'll get his life back. And that's what he's fighting for. He has something that he's actually fighting for that makes him emotional and connectable and relatable. Ultron is just a robot who has Hank Pym's brain and doesn't fucking use it because he sits there for 3 episodes doing nothing, gets beaten after making a robot wife, and then after he gets beaten, disappears for a season, comes back for an episode and gets beaten again by the Avengers. There's no arc to Ultron. He doesn't learn anything. There's just more action with Ultron, but Kang is the one who actually grows.
That's okay. So saying that it's just action with Ultron is bullshit, because the fact you're talking about that he doesn't have any human emotion and that he's just a robot. Like, I know I already said it, but Hank's brainwaves are in there, and just because the emotion isn't coming from Ultron himself, it's going out across the Avengers. When they think that Thor died, when he disintegrates when he disintegrates Thor and everybody thinks Thor is dead, that brings the Avengers together to go. That is much more of an Avengers level villain, whereas Kang, I know you're saying this big stuff with him, destroying the world, blah, blah, blah. He's more of a Captain America villain. He comes back for Captain America, and the Avengers are just kind of there helping him along the way, whereas at least Ultron, it's all Avengers. Everybody has an emotional connection somehow to Ultron, whereas the connection with Kang is more just so Captain America.
And the Ultron is a Hank Pym villain, but the Avengers are just there because Hank Pym is the creation. No. That's the same thing. The thing is, he comes back in time. Hey, I let you talk. He came back in time to get Captain America. Yeah, that's the point. But the Avengers rally around together to save Captain America. That's the bringing around point. And he doesn't even kill Thor. You're like, oh, that brings the Avengers together. Yeah, Kang does the same thing when he comes back in time to get Captain America. Thor's alive. Thor does not die. Ultron doesn't kill a single soul in there. And the Kang actually destroys the Earth. The Avengers have to rebuild the Earth after Kang fights him.
Ultron does disintegrate Thor. It's just they think he's dead. Just because he's not actually dead doesn't mean that the Avengers don't think that he's dead, and they do rally around it. Let me finish. You just got on me for that. So then they actually do think that he's dead. So that does cause a reason to rally. And so, but again, when you're talking about your episodes of them rallying around Captain America, they're rallying around an army of random aliens, faceless goons, where at least with Ultron, yes, there are faceless robots there, but Ultron is there the entire time, calm, collected, and also just evil as all hell. Kang just sits in a chair and yells at people to do
Kang has a physical battle with Captain America, a mano-a-mano battle. So if you want to say Kang sits in a chair, doesn't do anything, he fights Avengers more than Ultron does. Ultron sends the faceless robot goons, and they get busted. And then he goes, oh, I'm going to zap a person. They don't die. Kang literally gets off his ass, beats Captain America, destroys the Earth, and they have to use time travel to fix it. He literally wins.
So they still win, though.
In the end, but Kang succeeded in doing something. Ultron, you can't even say Ultron succeeded in doing a single thing. He succeeded in making the big Thor died.
He did succeed in killing Thor and making
Thor die.
That's 100% a thing. He attacks S.H.I.E.L.D.'s helicarrier and attacks Maria Hill and gets control of all of their nukes and sends all of the nukes to destroy the world. And the Avengers, guess what? They stop him just like they stopped Kang.
Time. This might be the closest thing I can witness to watching, like, essentially Cody and I debating. Can you let me talk? That was it's odd. But let's go into the closing statements here. Starting off with Tim. You're gonna have 1.5 seconds to wrap up your arguments and present them to Beavis, Butthead, and Doug. So
Ultron is a presence throughout the entire series of Earth's Mightiest Heroes. From the beginning to the end, Kang is a 1, 2, 3 episode in and out, in and defeated. Yes, he technically defeats the Avengers, but guess what? The Avengers come back and beat him. So in the end, it doesn't really matter. Ultron creates a lot of interesting things throughout the season for the team. It creates drama with Hank in the team. It creates a lot of stuff between, like I said, the Avengers rallying together to attack Ultron when they think that Thor is gone. It's the first time you actually get a real sense of this is a team of heroes coming together. Kang is just another alien ripoff who sits there and yells at people to go and do things for him all the time.
Right. Over to Kaleb now to wrap up the question.
like I said in the opening, in the main freeform, Kang gets off his ass and actually almost kills Captain America, destroys the Earth. He beats the Avengers, and they have to use an entire second episode to fix it. They can't do that with Ultron. Ultron doesn't win in any of his episodes. He's never succeeded in anything. Even the big, I took over the shield helicarrier. They destroyed him in the same episode. The thing is, Kang actually comes back in the second season and has an impact, whereas Ultron's in one episode and gets destroyed again. Kang actually comes back and almost succeeds again, so they have to put him in the time travel machine and lock him up for good, like I said, in the main round. So Kang has done more to hurt the Avengers. The Avengers have rallied behind Captain America in that episode because Kang comes the closest to beating them through beating Captain America, and Captain America is shaken for the rest of the series because of it. He is literally shaken, and you had to fight literally the fake Avengers Skrulls in season 2.
Time. All right. Over to the judges now for their decision. I'm going to start with Cody.
So it's taken me a year and a half, but I finally know why everybody hates fighting Koho. Koho treats you like you're a fucking idiot. He literally, let me tell you, I'm going to tell you why you're an idiot, and let me explain to me. I will explain a great deal why you're an idiot. Let me break it down for you. But I have to go with Koho on this one. I wish I could tell teenage self that there will be a day that people argue about animated shows on the internet, and you will not feel so alone anymore at the lunch table. It happened today. I was fucking lost. But Koho knew so much about it, and it just seemed like Ultron was just at a disadvantage at this point. So at that point, I have to give Koho. He knew so much and threw so much information and pretty much combated everything that was thrown out. But it was close. But I give it to Caleb.
All right. Over to Doug now for your decision.
Yeah. This was really intense to watch. The breakdown of, hey, can I speak? I let you speak. Was great because it kind of like changed the shift of the kind of tone of the debate when that line was thrown out, because it kind of like made somebody stumble a little bit. It was like, but no, I think overall what Koho pitched was a more menacing villain. I can understand Tim's points, but someone that kind of shook Captain America for the rest of the seasons. Not saying I'm taking that as the only argument point, but I'm just saying in general, just to like sum it up. But yeah, Koho got my point that round.
All right. So Koho does get the points. This is a cold day in hell. I've agreed with Cody on I think every question. Koho had it. I think he learned his lesson from the last time and really sold me on his defense. And I think those facts that we know that he has in his strengths really presented themselves efficiently in this one. So he does get the point. So it is 2-1 as we go into question number 4. Which is going to be in Lord of the Rings. I know a lot to Lord of the Rings, so I'm going to have tons of bias going into this. Not at all. And the question was, what is the best line in Lord of the Rings: Return of the King? And we're going to be starting off with Tim on this one. You have 1 minute to give us your answer and open up the question.
The entire trilogy of Lord of the Rings is about friendship and fellowship, if you will. That's what it's about. That's literally from beginning to end. It's about friendship, fellowship between these characters, and not a single relationship is stronger and tested and used in the series more than Frodo and Sam. And Sam has been along Frodo's side the entire time, wanting to help, being a loyal companion, even when Frodo's at his worst. So when they're finally at Mount Doom and Frodo just can't do it anymore, he's been beaten, he's been stabbed by a fucking giant spider, he's been attacked by orcs at Cirith Ungol, and he just can't do it anymore. So what does Sam do? What does he say? I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you. He lifts up his friend and carries him the final steps. It's incredible. It's the best line.
All right. Over now to Caleb for your answer for the question. Once again, what is the best line in Lord of the Rings: Return of the King?
Yeah, no. So when it comes to the Return of the King, you have all these incredible battles and sequences where there's people fighting, and the visual storytelling is super strong, especially in the scene where the Witch King comes down and his I don't know if it's a dragon or what the fuck, but that beast literally eats the fuck out of a king, throws him, and this girl named Eowyn stands up with a sword.
Oh my god!
And she stands there, and the Witch King is the most menacing fucker, and she still decapitates the dragon. The Witch King is kicking her ass, and she still stands there, though she's terrified. And finally, the Witch King says, no man can kill me. And she takes off the helmet and stabs him through the face when she gets the chance and says, I am no man. That line is fucking sweet. That is the moment that makes you stand up and cheer, more so than the abusive Sam Frodo-line relationship. And it is the moment that makes you, in that movie, stand and cheer the most. And it is the most impactful, powerful line that is said in the entire film. Fight me, Tim. Let's go.
All right. Well, we're just going to copy and paste what I said in questions 1 and 2 and 3 and paste them into here. So 5 minutes. Let's get it on.
Go ahead.
Caleb. Okay, first of all, you don't know the name of the character.
Eowyn.
You're talking, but you don't know how to pronounce it correctly. Yeah, you got there. You stumbled a little bit. But no, the scene you're talking about, it's a great scene. Don't get me wrong. It is a fun scene, yes, to see the Witch King come down and have Eowyn stab him in the face and say, I am no man. It's very cool. But when you're looking at the film as a whole and what has happened throughout the movie, there's nothing better than Sam picking up Frodo, carrying him, saying, I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you. It's symbolic of the entire film as a whole. Yours is just a cool action scene, lots of battle stuff, cool. This is the whole story. It's the whole thing.
If the whole story is this scene, it is problematic as fuck, because Sam is the most abused character because Frodo's a bitch. Frodo is laying at the bottom of Mount Doom. They haven't fucking climbed this damn mountain yet. There's so much more to go, and he fucking lays down like a bitch and has Sam go, I'll carry you, Master Frodo, I'll carry you, all the way up the fucking mountain. It's so stupid. Also, technically, the ADR for that scene is terrible. Their lips do not match up to the lines being stated, which makes it even harder to watch. I watched both scenes for this. It's such a hard moment to watch, and that line cannot be taken seriously because it's not coming out of his mouth at the right time.
Okay, well, that's just not true. No, it's not. You must have been watching a bad YouTube rip from 2006. But no, the point, again, like, you're talking about the fact that you clearly don't know anything about the story, because the fact that Frodo just lays there, it's not like he's laying down to take a nap. He had just been stabbed 3 times and then gets carried up the mountain by Sam. You're talking about Sam being an abused character. No, it's not about Sam being an abused character. It's about Sam being the strong character. It's finally showing that throughout everything that's happened to Sam, he's come back and been the hero. Frodo, you're right, is a little bitch, but Sam is there to say, no, you know what, Frodo? I can't carry it for you. I can carry you. Again, your scene, all you talked about was, it looks cool, this dragon type thing. I don't really know what it's fucking called. Lands down, and then, she rips off her helmet and stabs the guy. How many times have we seen that?
Sure, undercut the importance of maybe one of the most important action sequences of the century, because that's literally something we've never seen up to that point. Say this to me, Tim. When was the last time before this that you saw a woman stab a fucking beast that was terrifying in the face? That was actually awesome.
In the Two Towers, when Eowyn did it also in the Two Towers to a different type beast.
Wonderful, but the Witch King has more importance, whereas Sam literally is carrying Frodo the entire trilogy. Sam has literally been the hero the entire trilogy, and you're saying, oh, Frodo's a bitch, but he's the hero. No, Frodo literally does nothing. Sam should be the one that's throwing the ring in Mount Doom. So when he does that, he's laying down like a bitch and getting whipped.
Well, you just cut out, so I'm going to take this opportunity to talk because you froze on my screen. I don't know if that is okay. He's frozen for me. Can you guys hear me?
He's also frozen on my end.
So we should probably pause.
Yeah. Me. I don't know if you can see me. North Dakota snow is piling up on my internet, but I'll just say what I said. That Frodo does nothing this entire trilogy, and Sam's the one who's been carrying him the entire time. So to see him literally have to carry him now is just sad, because Sam then should be the one that throws the ring. This movie should be entirely about Sam, and Sam literally is being relegated to being Frodo's slave, for a lack of a better term, trying to carry him up the damn mountain, when Frodo literally hasn't done anything at all to be exhausted this entire trilogy. Sam's been doing everything.
He hasn't done anything to be exhausted, dude. He's been stabbed multiple times. He was cocooned by a spider. But again, we're getting off the point of the subject that we're talking about, the line, and the line, what my line represents of I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you. It's showing that Sam is the strong character and can carry him. You can call Frodo the bitch all you want. That Sam, you're just taking what I'm saying and trying to make it look like you know what you're talking about. But in the end, your scene is just a cool scene with a cool line in it, but it doesn't amount to anything in the end of the story. This line, this moment, this singular moment in the story encapsulates everything that we've been leading up to. And
if that's the story, then that's a bad story. If that's the line that encapsulates the story,
that's why you haven't seen the movie.
It's a bad line because it's encapsulating a bad story then. Because guess what? That line is stupid. It's cringy. It's him going, oh, you know what? You can't do anything. You're the worst character we've ever seen. So now I'm going to just put the team on my back and do what I've been doing the entire trilogy, which is stupid. That's lame. Also, I said what I said before you. But the thing about Eowyn's scene and her line and why it's so important is because of the way it's delivered, the way that she gives it. It actually has more importance outside of even the film. It's an important line for people to even think about. Have you, like, Eowyn doing this, killing the Witch King and saying that I'm not a man is the perfect retort and shows a sort of empowerment of that line that I think is more important than, oh, I'm going to put the team on my back and carry you like I can this entire trilogy.
But again, you're not even talking about the fact that Eowyn is doing this because her dad just died and everything. You're just looking at the one line.
Which is
okay. Let's go into the closing arguments here. We're going to start off with Kaleb. 45 seconds to wrap up your argument.
Tim keeps saying, oh, it's all about the story, it's all about this, all about that. If the line is supposed to symbolize the story, then the story is dog shit, because the line is dog shit. The delivery is dog shit. The ADR to make that line sink up to the mouth is dog shit. The entire thing about that moment falls flat, because he's saying, oh, it has all this emotional intensity. It has none of it, because the scene is done so poorly. Sean Astin is terrible in that scene, and Frodo's laying there doing absolutely nothing because he's exhausted. He hasn't had any reason to. Stabbed 3 times. Sure, whatever the fuck. I don't really give a fuck whatever your plotting is for this, because it doesn't make sense at that point. We don't care about those two at that point, because it's all about Sam. It's always been about Sam, and Sam doesn't get to do anything except just deliver this cringy half-ass line. Whereas Eowyn gives maybe the coolest line, the most important line of the entire film, which is I stand for no man, when she saves her father and she kills the most scary villain in the entire series.
Time. All right. Over to Tim now to wrap up the question.
A scary villain in the entire series that we've seen 3 times in the entire series. Yeah, really. No, Kaleb, again, you're talking about this one line as if it's the greatest thing to ever happen. But literally the fact that the story is take the ring, drop it in Mordor. The fact that Sam is the one who gets Frodo there, says this line, carries him up there. That's the whole story. It's the entire story. That's why it's the best line. You kept talking about how your line is a cool line, but literally, no, you do care about this. Everyone in the story cares about this, because at the same time as this, Aragorn and everybody is attacking the Black Gate for Frodo. And Sam, they literally say that. So this is the most important. This is the best line. I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you.
Okay, that was a really interesting question. Might be the first time I've heard mockery on both sides of the floor. So I guess an applause to both for adding something new to a debate. But let's go on to the judges. Start off with Cody. Who gets your point and why?
One just major fact correction. Sam can't drop the ring. That's the whole point of the story. Just saying that one right now. Sam can't drop the ring. So I know that was one of his major points. I'm giving it to Tim because Tim just battered him. I think Tim almost screwed himself a little bit because he almost did the Kaleb ×2. He's like, okay, you idiot, you don't know much about anything, but he put it with facts. Every time Kaleb would counter something, he had a rebuttal, and then he said, "When's the last time you saw a female do this?" blah, blah, blah. And he's like, in the Two Towers, the movie prior that you have not seen, pretty much. So it was rough. Tim gets my point, but again, we have two other judges, so I might be right.
I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but once again, I agree with Cody. This is essentially the best, like the most divisive in terms of forms. I said this before on the show. Offense wins games, but defense wins championships. And this is essentially Kaleb like trying to throw as many haymakers as he can, and Tim being like, "Nah, fuck you, nah, fuck you, nah, fuck you." Like, here's why all your points don't really add up. I applaud Kaleb for the effort, but Tim's defense just sold this for me right from the first minute. Maybe his defense even cut out Kaleb's internet, but we'll never know. So he gets the last prep question point. Doug, who would have gotten your points?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Tim countering probably did mess up the internet connection. No, but it literally was the same thing that Cody in Brooklyn said. This is insane. We've been on the same mark the entire match. Maybe we all share a hive mind at one point. Anyway, no. Great match to both of you guys, but yeah, Tim.
The Two Towers defense broke my internet. I'm gonna say it right now because I knew at that moment I was fucking dead in the water.
His internet is like, fuck. We gotta do here. We gotta restart. We gotta try.
The internet straight up just like cut it. He's like, no, you're dead. That was it. Call the white flag. Throw the white towel.
All right, so as we move into the speed round question, Tim does have a score of 3-1, so he only needs to win one of these speed round questions to advance. So for these speed round questions, the competitors are not going to pick any categories. Myself and Cody assessed both competitors and felt what were the most balanced categories. This one is actually pretty easy compared to the last one, I think. But we'll go into the first speed round question. So it works as always. I will say the question in its entirety. If you answer first, you will be going first. It will be a 40-second opening followed by a 30-second rebuttal.
Are you going to say it twice? Are you going to say it twice like we did last, like with Kaleb and Jay, or are you going to just say it once?
It was just once. I wasn't there for
last time for Kaleb and for the last match for Kaleb and Jay's match. We said it twice. So I don't care either way. I just want to know.
Yeah.
Just for any connection issue, just say it twice. Just
say it twice.
Especially with Kaleb already cutting out once. I don't want anybody to.
So how it's going to go is I'm going to say, here is your first question. Again, listen carefully. I will say the question, and then I will say again the question, and then that's when you guys will give your answers. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Best of luck, guys. Once again, 3-1. Tim, you only need 1 point. Kaleb, you do need to win. You need to win all three of these. So, all right. Your first speed round question is as follows: who is the most underrated Pixar character? Again, who is the most underrated Pixar character?
Hector.
I heard first.
I will go with I will go with Rex.
Rex. All right. So we have KO giving Hector from Coco, and then we have Tim giving Rex from Toy Story.
Yeah.
Okay. Wasn't sure if there was an obscure good dinosaur character that I was missing.
Oh, I hope not.
You gotta fucking love Arlo though, right?
Let's fucking go Arlo. Most underrated.
I got a T-shirt that says Arlo's the goat. But
all right, guys. So I did hear KO first with Hector. So you're gonna have 40 seconds for your opening statement. Super strict with time here, so time is going to begin the second you start talking.
Hector is the most important and underrated character from Coco, because when you think about Coco and Pixar in general, the main characters are usually the ones that you think about, or the more like the animal sidekicks or whatever. But I think Hector's arc, going from this sort of trickster that's trying to be remembered until you realize that he's got a much deeper, more emotional story, as being murdered by Ernesto de la Cruz, as being this person that only just wants to connect with his family, that wants to be close and remembered, and his legacy that is told throughout the entire story of Coco, I think is more beautiful and resonant, whereas Rex is just sort of this funny side character that gives quips throughout 4 Toy Story movies, and he's not really even in the 4th one. He's just kind of in the RV and has maybe one line from Wallace Shawn. It's really a mediocre performance from Wallace Shawn, and a mediocre character. Hector is maybe the best character in Coco.
All right. Over to Tim now for your opening statement.
Thank you for telling me that, Caleb, that Hector is the best character in Coco. I agree. Therefore, he's not underrated. If he's the best character, the co-lead of the movie, he's there as the co-lead and the best character. You just said it. Therefore, he's not really underrated. Rex, like you said, is in the background and always delivers the funniest and the best lines. Like, how do you spell FBI? Like, that's just hilarious. And it brings this nice levity to other scenes in the Toy Story franchise. But like you said, Hector is the best part of Coco. Therefore, he's not an underrated character, because I think he's widely agreed to be one of the best, I'll say it again, emotional parts of the movie. His story is great. Rex is also hilarious.
All right. Over to Caleb now for your 30-second rebuttal.
The most popular character and the most overrated of the Cocos are Miguel and Dante. Those are the 2 you see on all the merchandise. You never see a Hector t-shirt anywhere. You see Rex on t-shirts. Rex got his own fucking Pixar shorts. So if you're going to say, underrated, the man is literally the star of his own material in terms of Pixar, and does not deliver funny lines. In fact, his lines usually bring down the movies, because it reminds you these are kids' movies, whereas Hector's entire arc in the film is what makes Coco a more adult-oriented Pixar film and uplifts the entire thing, including the fact that he got murdered, whereas Rex's FBI takes you out of the entire Toy Story movie and in the moment that they're sharing right now.
Time. All right, over to Tim now for your 30-second rebuttal.
When you think about Toy Story, your brain doesn't immediately go to Rex, just because I think that short was made because he was such an underrated character. And again, you're talking about like Hector, like he's just this whoever person. You already said he's the best character in the movie. He's on all of the posters. He's on the cover of the fucking Blu-ray, which people pick up to buy. He's everywhere throughout the movie, and he has the best emotional arc throughout the movie, which makes him the best character, therefore not underrated. Rex is there in the background throughout the entire, all 4 Toy Story films, just delivering funny moments that aren't just kid jokes. They're for adults as well.
Time.
He's hilarious.
That was interesting. I'm super torn. Let's go to Cody. See who gets his point.
Hold on, my dog is trying to lick up all the water that remains in the freaking lake of the Ozarks. Thank you, dog. Okay. Now. Okay. One, bold choice from Tim. Hats off to the man. Picking Rex. Wouldn't have thought about it. Hector, unconventional. Much because you think of that. I think, in my opinion, Koho sold me a little bit better on why Hector might be underrated. I think Tim did a really good job of combating Hector, but then Caleb was able to shoot down Rex pretty well in my eyes. So I have to give it Koho.
All right. I'm surprised that it happened this late, but I actually disagree with Cody. This is super torn, and I think Caleb had the right setup for getting the point in terms of the rebuttal. I needed to hear a line. I needed to hear a line that brought down one of the films, and I just didn't. I know people give me shit, but like I need some substances if you're gonna say this person did this. Give me something. I just didn't get that. So Tim narrowly gets that point. But Doug, you're gonna break the tie for the first time this match. Who gets your point and why?
Hey guys, I like being the tiebreaker. I don't. Help me. No. So it was actually said pretty early in the arguments. What kind of won it for me off the bat, because I didn't hear anything against it, and Tim kept battering it in, was that Hector is a mainstay of the story. He's one of the best parts of Coco. It's the part that you kind of fall in love with. Caleb said it. Tim agreed and kind of kept pushing on that subject. So that's why I gave Tim the point.
All right, then, ladies and gentlemen, that means that your winner and still the Nerdgasm champion is Tim the Hulk Brzakala. Final score of 4-1. How ironic that this is actually the same score of the last championship match with Robert Parker. I believe it was 4-1.
4-0. Was 4-1?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was
Right.
We went speed on
No.
Okay.
No, Robert won. He won one of them. I know he won one of the crap ones.
It's fine.
Anyways,
the Harry Potter one.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
All right, let's go into some post-match interviews. Starting off with Tim. Tim, you looked pretty comfortable in this in this match for the most part. I know Kaleb is really good at as getting people pissed off, and I didn't quite get that from you. How did you feel about your performance today?
Oh, he pissed me off. He pissed me off a lot. If I hadn't gone into this knowing I was gonna, try to be more calm than I was in the last match, I would have erupted a lot more. Kaleb likes to do this thing with his face where he goes, and it makes you feel like the dumbest piece of shit ever, where every moment that I wasn't talking, I muted and just went, that motherfucker got fucking dead. Actually, and then just came back in really quickly. But no, this was fun. I knew I was going to lose one of the two that Kaleb picked. I didn't expect it to be the Marvel one. After I won the Doctor Who question, I was honestly really surprised. That kind of got me on a good pace and a good set for the match. So yeah, definitely, probably, honestly, Robert was a tough fight, but this was almost as, if not more, frustrating than that fight. So that was fun, Kaleb. Thanks.
So I guess your next defense will be one of the new upcoming rookies that we have seen in season 2 with the various triple threats. Or it could be I think this will be Robert. How do you feel? Would you rather go up against Robert again, or are any of these new competitors giving you an appetite for competition?
I'd rather go up against someone I haven't played before. I think the easier fight would honestly be Robert because I've already done it. And so I think Robert has the better chance of beating me, but as far as being comfortable in the match or whatever, I think that playing Robert would be easier for me. But yeah, I'd rather play someone new that I haven't played before. That's the end goal because that's always more fun. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I hope I get to play someone new, but if it comes down to Robert again, then sure, let's do it.
All right. Now I'm gonna go over to Kaleb. Kaleb, I think in terms of your style of debate, this is probably some of the best work that we have seen in that realm. You're just going up somebody against Tim, who, honestly, in my opinion, is a very, very defense forward sort of debate style. He really tackles those counterpoints quite well. But how do you feel about your performance today?
No one I've ever debated has had my number the way that Tim Brzakala has. Every single person I debated, that whether it be Cody, whether it be, I've actually never debated you as if this comes out. I think our debate might be up. I have no idea. But when it comes to the people I fought, I've always had one or two questions where I won a point that I definitely shouldn't have because of my tactics. Every point that I won tonight, all one of them was because of my actual argument. And I lost every point that I deserved to lose because Tim fucking kicked my ass. Tim was very good at being calm, and he owned me the entire match. The moment he won Doctor Who, and I knew that I had lost it. I completely lost it on my own. I fucked up, and I realized I'm probably gonna lose this fight. And I kind of made peace with that real quick because the way that Tim fights is very cool under pressure, and whenever I got him to sort of crack a little bit, I took that as a personal victory because he's very, very chill, and the reactions are how I'm able to gauge how I'm doing. So he did really well. He won every point that he should have. I would have given him the point on every single one that he won. So I applaud him, and I'm kind of glad this is over. I'm kind of glad this is done. Tim is excellent. I actually would love to see Cody and Tim play because I think Tim could win. Personally, but I think that'd be a fun debate. But anyway, congrats, champ. They always say it's hard to win a title. It's harder to defend a title. So,
I think I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyways.
Yeah.
are you gonna try and venture back for that title? Does this make you sort of want to come back for it, or you're like, nope, I've had my time. I've had my time with Tim. This is
I'd always love to fight Tim again. Now that we've actually played, I think strategies change. I think questions change. I think me and Tim too would be an interesting fight, probably closer, because we both know how to expect and how to change our strategies a bit. But I think it'd be more interesting to see a rematch. I'd love to come back and play for a title again, but it's not my goal at the moment. In fact, I think I'm probably just going to set my focus on just whenever you guys need me to come play, I'll come play someone, and I'm not going to look to come back for the title, but if I make my way back to the title at some point, then cool. But yeah, I mean, if I play like a Doug Castle and end up winning that, and then I play a Brooklyn Vale and end up winning that and win 3 or 4 in a row and find myself playing Tim again, lovely. But I'm not gunning for it again. So. All
right. Well, a great effort nonetheless. I think getting here is a task on its own. But then even to have that 1 point against Jim is good. The score doesn't necessarily reflect the performance in my opinion. But we'll go over now to judges for their final thoughts. Doug, championship match, the finale of season 2. How do you feel about the match overall?
No, I think they both did an incredible job. Regardless of what the score was, Caleb, you came in fighting. Regardless, you're scrappy as hell. Seriously, I said it during the Jay Burns match. You're scrappy, and that's what won you that match.
Yeah, I'm scrappy and hungry, and I'm not throwing away my shot.
All right, I guess we'll throw Hamilton references. But Tim, I kept his cool the entire time, and regardless of him saying, I took myself a camera to curse him out and come back and just be like, yeah, there's this and this and this. Shows the kind of competitor that he is. And it shows him that while even if something gets under his skin, he knows how to combat it, which is really a talented debate. It was an amazing match. The score doesn't reflect that.
And Cody, you're a connoisseur of debates, like the rest of the panelists here on call. How do you feel about this match?
I'm retired for the most part. TMG killed that dream. Did I say it out loud? Sorry, I didn't mean to. Like Super S Star was going to watch this anyways, but if you do, quit what you're doing. You're terrible. But on that note, Tim won. Tim's in the fellowship, so I'm thoroughly happy for him. I don't know why anybody's shocked about this. Like, I will say it to his face. Like, you let the best champion in your league walk, and yeah, that's your own problem. But Tim is going to be – I don't think anybody will take Tim for a while. I don't think so. Tim is the closest to my style. Tim preps. Tim knows what he's talking about. So, I mean, hats off to him. He did a great job today. Caleb played more of a reserve side of him this time, and I think that's because he wants Fandom to keep running next season. This could have ended into a bloody war if Caleb was actually at full strength. He was about 60% of what I've seen him at. So I'm excited to see actually Caleb with a clean mind, not working like insane, crazy work hours, But I can't wait to see him actually back in the ring because I think he held back a little bit tonight, and I want to see full Caleb because I think Caleb can be a champion in debate because he has the most unique style. But Tim was able to just, I'm not going to fall for your bullshit. Even when he threw fake movie news at him, and Tim wanted to crush him for that false statement. So it was fun to watch. Congrats, Tim. Caleb, you'll probably be back in a couple months to probably get another shot. So yeah, it's a great time.
Cody wants to see full Caleb. Giggity. This is a great match. Definitely an improvement of back and forth in terms of the last championship. I know that there would be a pseudo sibling rivalry in that last one, so I can understand why things got heated. I didn't need an aspirin for a Koho match. This is the first time. This is great. I don't have a headache. I'm not stressed. I'm not tired. Like it was good. It was for the most part respectful. Like it was sportsmanlike, which is generally what I like to see in debates. I mean, obviously Tim did win with the final score of 4-1, but I do feel like there is a there's a level of respect, a level of sportsmanship. Like, great match. Like, I would love to see this run again, regardless of the score. But that is going to wrap it up for season 2. This is the last Nerdgasm of the year. Got to end it off on a championship. Tim getting to defend. So I do want to thank every competitor, every panelist that we had, every judge that we had to come in. Tim Brzakala deserves a big old fucking thank you for editing matches, like essentially reviving the league. Because to be truthful, I don't have time. I have too much on my plate at the moment, so I had to diverge it off. And thankfully, Tim came in to help, and like Cody and Caleb for helping out with the question writing and stuff. And Cody's quick to tell me when a question is bullshit, and Caleb is really good at helping out. Well, this person knows this stuff here, and just the plethora of judges that we had: Caleb Bowman, Andrew Barr, Doug Castle, everybody. Just a massive thank you. I think that I have not given thanks enough in the past, and I've called it on that, and I need to really show thanks. So I do want to thank everybody for coming on for the great match, a great way to end season 2. For Caleb, for our champion Tim, for Doug, for Cody, I'm the Black Thunder Brooklyn Vale. Be sure to what the fuck are you talking about? All right, guys, cheers, and as always, drive safely.
Driving safe. Wreck your car.